Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to my channel. I am Node and this is Node of Creation. We're just covering a bit on the Russia-Ukraine situation that's currently ongoing. Seems to be a very bad situation at the moment, and it doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon. A lot of people cover this, and it's very easy to jump on the bandwagon. Bad guy Putin, good guy NATO, and that's always the way. Anytime you're dealing with a conflict, and the West always takes the role of the good guy, and whoever they're facing, it doesn't matter, takes the role of the bad guy. So that's what we're used to hearing. So I'm not surprised there. Is there deeper sides to this conflict that may have led to the conflict being avoided altogether? Most likely. I don't know them, but we're gonna go over this this broadcast from Sky News, which is covered. They cover something that I think it's Vladimir Klitschko, who I believe is the mayor of Kiev. So let's get into it.
We can talk about Russian position right now. The war back and forth. That many people died. Many civilian people died. It's horrible, especially for civilian women, children, our soldier. Russians explain they came to change the government because the government is bad. I'm sorry, every Ukrainian support the decision to be the part of European family is a main priority for us, and Putin not agree with that.
Then you have to accept the consequence of that. So this is not a crisis. This is you're going to war so you can join Europe. So if they fend off Russia, they can join Europe. But they can't, because Russia is not going to have it. This when I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but when people say that there's sort of like a design or it's like a theater act, this is when I start believing it's more of a theater. There's under no circumstance is Russia going to allow Ukraine to join NATO or Europe, by that matter. They can try, but they're not. He's not going to allow it, and they've seen the extent that Putin's willing to go for this. And while there's a lot of people in Russia that's like anti-war, what have you, like that. It sounds all good on paper, being anti-war. But we've seen what NATO's done over the last 20 odd years. It's never. Whatever NATO has got involved, when it's got involved into another country, it's never led well for a country that is a non-white country. Whether that be Northern Africa or in the Middle East, it's not going well for them. Or drone strikes in other parts of the world, not going well for them. I don't know how they'll treat Russia. It's a mixed bag in there, isn't it? So let's go on what he says anyway.
We don't want to live in Russian Empire. It's the main reason why is Russian soldiers coming here. Every Ukrainian support this war. This war against the Russians, because we are not aggressive wars to anyone. But if some army coming to us, we will be fight. We fight for our independency, for our family, for our future, for our...
Okay, he's going on, but there is something especially in terms of fighting. This is either on a personal level or between groups or between countries, called a preemptive strike. You strike someone before they're able to strike at you. If Russia perceives NATO to be a threat to it, then this is just a preemptive strike. And regardless what Boris Johnson says, regardless what the American president says, this is just a preemptive strike. This is because Russia believes that this is in the best interest of their country. If Ukraine joins NATO and NATO then allows military bases, air bases, you know, missile bases on the Ukraine territory, that might spell bad for Russia. And, if you was Russian, you'd hope that the person that's leading you is looking out for your best interest, and not the best interest of people that just want to feel good and, throw sanctions like that's going to do anything. I think the problem is that at some point, we have to say, how much is Ukraine worth it anyway? Because then we have this one here. Breaking news. Russia. Vladimir Putin orders military commander to put nuclear deterrent force on high alert. Like, is it worth it? Fine, you're going to fight for your family. You're going to fight for your... So, Ukraine has decided that they want to join Europe at any cost. Not only to themselves, because they won't be the only one affected. They want to join at any cost. They could more than well have good relations with Russia, good relations with Europe, but understand the situation they're in. They are on the border. There are two sides of this. They're on the border. There's one side and there's another side. They don't get along. Okay, what can I do? I can be the middleman and absolutely make money from this. Make it clear to both sides, I will not be used as a stepping stone for you or the other one. But, I don't know. I've not followed this except for the last, few weeks since it's actually come up. And really and truly, the only interest that I've actually had in this, the interest is growing now because I've actually been looking into it more and more. But the interest is definitely growing because I can see that this is something that affects the wider, the wider world, and in that vein, you kind of go down a rabbit hole as you do when you look into something. And from what I've seen, I can't clearly see, if I put myself in Russia's position, do I want an enemy right next door to me? I can't clearly see any scenario where I would want Ukraine to join NATO. Like, at all. Not when I've seen what they've done to other countries. Afghanistan being the last one. I can't see a scenario where I would want them to be right next door to me. I can't see a scenario where I would want them to have an advantage over me or my country. And then now things are going to go bad to worse. So now we've got breaking news. Putin has ordered that the Russians' nuclear deterrent forces are put on high alert. Mr. Putin said aggressive statement by NATO leaders and economic sanctions against Moscow were behind this decision. Even the idea of supplying Ukraine with arms and everything, who's paying for this? If there is such a thing as, let's free Ukraine, we're the ultimate good guys, why aren't these arms companies just donating all these weapons? The taxpayers of all these countries in NATO are paying for these weapons to go into Ukraine. And I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this, both sides benefit. So we have some Russian oligarchs and we have some English businessmen absolutely minting it from all the money they making from this whole process. And meanwhile, Ukraine will be a smoking hole in the ground. All this bravado that we've seen from Vladimir Klitschko, it means nothing. In the face of nuclear war, it means absolutely nothing. It's just not worth it. Nuclear war is not worth it at all. Anyway, thoughts and concerns, bang them in the comment section. I know many people are not going to agree with me. Some people will agree with me, but I've got a big family. I do not want anyone to be absolutely turned into a shadow on the wall by a nuclear missile. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.